Hello, everyone, and welcome to Polymathy Guide. Thus far, in our beginner's portion of the Excel Mastery course, we've examined the user interface, navigation techniques, data entry best practices, and basic math. Today, in video 5, we will explore cell formatting in detail. We'll look at how to enhance readability, emphasize key data, and maintain consistency in our workbooks. If you'd like to follow along, simply open a practice workbook now. Formatting in Excel is accessed through two primary functions. The first is also the default view for our window, which is the Home tab exposing the home ribbon. And the home ribbon is comprised primarily of ways to alter the formatting of your text. The other way that you can access formatting for cells is to right click anywhere in your sheet, and down here towards the bottom you see this format cells. Clicking on that format cells opens up much of the same options, but to a greater extent that we see up here in our home ribbon. Okay, for just instruction purposes, we'll set this aside and we'll just discuss the home ribbon for a moment. This clipboard allows us to cut, copy, and paste. We also have the ability to format paint. And format paint is where we can take the formatting that already exists in a selection that we've determined, and we can apply that formatting to another selection in our sheet. For example, I have this word formatting here, and if that word were to be bold, I can select Format Painter and then click on this date over here, and you can see that a couple things have happened. The first is the date switched from a date format to a general format, which turns the date into a serial number, which is really no matter how you see a date, that's how Excel sees the date. And it also turned the text or the numbers to bold. So that's what Format Painter does. And a helpful little trick here is here we are. Again, I've got the word format in bold. And if I were to double click Format Painter, I now have it's on semi-permanently. So I can say I want the formatting from the word formatting to apply to this cell and these three cells. And so you can see that instead of continuing to click Format Painter and one at a time, I can do a group or individual cells or groups of cells uh, without having to go through that process of multiple clicks. Now you can see by my cursor that is the white cross with the paintbrush that Format Painter is still applied. If I was to press escape, it immediately gets me out of that. Or here you can see I'm back in it. If I come up here and press the Format Painter, it will get me out of that as well. So again, cut, copy, paste, that's all your options up here in addition to Format Painter. I'm gonna undo all this formatting so we can get back to essentially a blank slate. Um, Now moving on to the font section. So we have a wide range of fonts that we can choose from by selecting this drop down caret. sizes of font, a wide range of sizes, and then yeah, I don't know if you would consider it a shortcut, but if I'm selected on a group of cells or a cell, I can simply press the larger A or the smaller A to quickly go up and down in size. Or if it's a ways down there, I can just go straight to the number by clicking that drop down caret next to the font size. Okay, so we have basic options for bold, italic, underline, and then if you were to hit the drop down caret on the underline, you can see the option for a double underline. It's very basic formatting. Uh, the most common format adjustments. That's why Excel has put them in the ribbon. And then we can also choose this paint bucket where you can see we've got this wide range of colors. And if none of those colors suit our fancy, well, we can go to an entire color wheel where we can customize just any color under the sun. So, okay. And for example, we'll just make this cell yellow filled. And then the letter with the color under it, this is the color of our font. And so maybe we want to make that font, let's make it green. Okay, so very simple. And these colors that have been last selected, those colors remain teed up um, in these positions until you choose another color. So maybe I want my whole thing to look like Oregon Ducks colors or just like that. Okay, so I'll undo, get me back to a blank slate. Okay, so that's what you get from your font section. Alignment is the next section, and I'll go ahead and increase the size of this cell by dragging the edge of my column and row headers. And you can see that the default alignment for a cell in Excel is to be bottom and left. And so you can see here, this bottom row on the ribbon indicates whether you want something to be left aligned, center aligned. Whoops, I'm not on that cell. Left aligned, center aligned, or right aligned. And the top row indicates where you want the alignment vertically. So top aligned, center aligned, and bottom aligned. And if we simply wanted something completely centered in the cell, well, then we would select centered vertically and centered horizontally. And no matter what we type in here, it would continue to remain centered in the cell. Okay. Now, if we wanted, let's go ahead and back up, get back to our regular cell size. And if you're curious about how I snap to that size, the same area where you adjust the size of the column, you would simply double click and the cell or the row or the column will snap to fit the contents of the cell or the column or the row. Okay, let's say that we are in this cell and we're going to say that formatting Excel is super fun with an exclamation. Okay. You can see that what has happened is that we have overrun the boundary of our cell. And if there's nothing next to our cell, this can be okay. But if for whatever reason the cell next to it had content in it, you can see that the information in that cell is then cut off. It's still there, it still exists. So when I click on this cell, you can see that all that information is still there. But we need a way to show that doesn't create a conflict with the cell next to it. The first thing that we can do is that we can increase the width of the column, but maybe we have a lot of text in there, and increasing the column width gets to be something that dominates the screen like this. In that instance, we would want to increase the height of the column, and we would want to go to here, wrap text. And so what wrap text does is it allows Excel to, when you reach the edge of your cell boundary, it will take the word and put it on the next line in the same cell. So I'm going to click on this cell, I'm going to wrap text. And so there you go. Formatting Excel is super fun. So we have all of our information. It's confined to a more reasonable width column, and it doesn't conflict with the columns around it. Okay. So maybe we want to let's go ahead and make let's go ahead and make this top aligned. And maybe here I've entered edit mode for the cell. Maybe I want to put another sentence in here. And so if I press return or enter the way that I would in, say, Word, it takes me down to the next cell. Um, but there's a lot of space in here, and I want to enter my information here. So the question is, how do I get down there? Well, simply press or hold Alt and Enter, and that will take you to the next row within a cell. So you can also get back here. When you are in the cell, you can paste directly from, for example, Word. And if you have some portion of information that is um, numbered, or it has bullets or anything like that, all those things will get brought in with it. So don't sleep on bringing information in from another source like Word that's formatted in just the way that you want. Um, because in my personal opinion, getting Excel to behave the way that you want, and while also leveraging its mathematical ability and formula ability, is much easier than trying to get Word to behave the way you want, and maintain that mathematical or formula ability. So, nevertheless, that is wrap text. And I'll go ahead and get rid of some of this stuff that we brought in here, and I'll return it to left aligned and bottom. Oops, I need to get out of edit. Bottom, left aligned, good. We'll go ahead and shrink up the row. We'll shrink up the column. And if for whatever reason, let's say that I had this word here. And let's say that formatting numbers. Now you can see that my wrap text is still on. If I took it off, it would revert it to um, just overrunning its neighbor. Um, I don't want to wrap the text here. And however, if I extend the column, the the header to this column just it overpowers the rest of the information in the column. We have this big gap of just space and opportunity that looks inefficient. It looks poorly used. And so one of the things that we can do is we can simply rotate the way that these words or that these numbers are presented. And that is done here with the AB and an arrow that's going up at a diagonal. And so if we click this drop down caret, we can see that we can angle it from bottom left to top right, or top left to bottom right, or we can do it vertically um, with all numbers um, facing their current orientation, but or excuse me, all letters in their current orientation, but all in a vertical line. Or it will rotate the information sideways, uh, reading bottom to top or top to bottom. So, to set the example, you can see here, we can get our numbers to go sideways. And if we had information also in the cell next to it, um, you can see that we can get fairly lengthy column headers while still maintaining, and let's just move this over here. We can get fairly lengthy column headers while still maintaining reasonably tight data columns and data rows. So again, that's bottom left to top right, and then the other one would look that way. And well, now that's silly because we're conflicting with each other. Vertical looks this way. Uh, Really good in sort of a presentation use, where you might want um, the head of an axis to be formatted in this way. And then just simply turning it sideways, reading bottom to top, or sideways, top to bottom. Okay. So we'll click on that again. And if you simply click on whatever it is that you have selected, if you click on it again, it'll revert to its original um, orientation. Okay. So that gets us mostly through this section. If I had everything, let's just hit this last portion here. If I had everything left aligned and I wanted this kind of sub tier of information to be shifted over a little bit, we would use this indent, increase or decrease the indent buttons to move them around. This has been covered in a previous video where we never want to format through the use of spacebar or anything like that. We want to do proper formatting, and in this instance, we want to use the increase indent. Okay, we covered wrap text, uh, merge and center. We're not going to cover merge and center. Okay. So now we get to, and if you've watched the previous video, you'll know why we're not going to cover Merge and Center. But the truth is, Merge and Center does exactly what it sounds like it does. It'll merge cells and it will center the information in that group of merged cells. But we don't want to do that. It's bad for us. Okay, now let's look at the number formatting. So number formatting, there's some quick buttons here where you can get accounting, percentage, You can get comma style numbers. You can increase or decrease the number of visible digits beyond the decimal. And if you want something in the number format that is not located here, you can hit this drop down caret next to the word general, and you can see all the different ways that you can format a number. Now, sometimes it's hard to tell what exactly my number is going to look like um, just by the name of what's here. What's great is that if you were on or if you had selected a cell and then you click format, it will show you underneath the format title what's going to happen if you format in that manner. And so if we select currency, you can see it's going to throw a dollar sign up there. If you click short date, uh, 0.25 um, presents as the short date equivalent to an error because it doesn't understand how to make sense of that number into a date. Uh, Long date will also present as an error, which is January 1900. Time percentage would be 25%. A fraction would be one quarter. And then you have your scientific and text. So, more often than not, when we're building out data sets, um, we primarily just want to get the information in there first, and then we want to go ahead and start formatting. Um, and the reason for this is because if you format as you go, data sets tend to change. The way that you structure your data set will change based on its appearance, its readability, and so you may end up moving things around. And if you format too early, you just effectively spend a lot of time formatting that could be better spent populating your data set. And it's not necessarily wasted time per se, but you are better off holding off on your formatting until you get your data set established, and then make it look all nice and easier to read and whatnot. So here I'm gonna go ahead and um, I'm gonna say that these are dollars. And so there's basically one of two, call it default ways that we can show dollars. And so the first is currency, and the second is counting. When we select currency, what we get is we get the dollar symbol, and that's fine. But one of the things that we see is that as far as readability, our dollar symbol is all over the place. Now, all of our pennies and our, um, all of our cents and all of our dollars are aligned with each other where they exist, but where they don't, the dollar symbol just sucks back to the number. And so that's convenient when you want to just show a singular number that is currency. But when you have a lot of numbers that are currency, you want to really revert to accounting. And accounting takes the dollar symbol, throws it all the way to the left side of the column, and it leaves this all open for just the raw numbers. Now, still having this selected, maybe it's only the whole dollar amount that we care about. And so um, we can hide or shift how much is visible beyond the decimal. And you can see in this cell in particular that when the portions of a dollar are exposed, we have 50 cents or half a dollar, but when we hide it, it will automatically round. And so point 0.5 becomes 1 and 0.25, whoops, 0.25 first becomes point 0.3 because it's rounding up, and then point 0.3 becomes 0. So depending on what the overall purpose and intent is of this, um, that will determine to what degree you want to expose or hide um, digits beyond the decimal. Now, if you work regularly in um, hundreds of thousands or millions, tens, hundreds of millions of dollars, uh, more often than not, um, especially in, say, something like estimating, um, you'll frequently see things represented as just whole dollars. Um, because to be honest, in a $200 million contract, the customer isn't really concerned if it's 200 million and 36 cents or just $200 million. It's an arbitrary amount in the grand scheme of things. So we'll go ahead and bring those decimal places back, and um, let's go ahead and look at how we can format this as a number, but we want all of our digits at a minimum to be 6 places, whether there's digits out there or not. And so one of the things that we can do is that we can right click and we'll go to format cells, or we can hit this little dialogue arrow here, and you can see that it automatically opens to our number tab in our format cells window here. And what we want to do is we want to go to custom. And here you can see that what we're on right now, we're formatted as a number, which automatically gives us a decimal point and 2 digits beyond the decimal point. And so if we wanted to ensure that there would be a total of 6 digits, we can simply add another 5 digits to the front, and you can see that the numbers will all appear as 6 digits to the decimal and then 2 digits beyond the decimal. And so if we press OK, you can see here, no matter what the number is that we enter, we can do 0.76. It will continue to maintain this format of numbers. And this is one way that we can get continuity from cell to cell in a particular column. If we wanted to ensure that this had a comma in it, we can use this comma style number. But you can see that we lose our 6 digits. So let me go back. Here we are with our 6 digits. And if I again open that format window, I'm in custom. Here's the information that I had previously entered. If instead I put a comma in there, press OK, now you can see a comma. Now, one more thing while we're here, let's go ahead and open that format window again. And maybe I don't want to see any places past the decimal, but what I do want to see is I want to see, instead of currency, we'll say that this is hours. We're talking about, say, labor hours. So I want to see HRS as an abbreviation for hours. but it's not that simple. And you'll see when I press OK, Microsoft doesn't understand what you just did. Okay. Well, when we're in Excel and we're trying to, it's essentially going to concatenate for us, which is combining two things together. When we're in Excel, frequently we need to wrap text when it combines with numbers in quotes. So here you can see I've put quotation marks before and after the hours. And now when I press OK, you can see I get hours in each one of these sections. So, okay, that's cool. And no matter what I put in here, it'll bring the hours in and it will bring the additional placeholder zeros in. So, all this to show you that there's a wide range of ways that you can format numbers uh, to do exactly what it is that you want them to do. Okay, so beyond this left hand side of the ribbon, we've got a lot of fun stuff, which is conditional formatting, formatting as a table. We're going to get into conditional formatting in its own video because it's quite extensive. But to format as a table, if we simply select all of our data and we can pick our favorite flavor, and it will ask, where is the data for your table? Well, we've pre-selected it, so it's auto-populated there. And then this is really the most important part. Does your table have headers or not? Well, mine does. So I'm going to ensure that this box is checked, and then I press OK, and there we have it. We now have a table that is formatted in the favorite flavor of the day. We can also take this, and because it's a table, now we can change the flavor that we want. Um, and let's see if we go back. Now we're back to pre having formatted it as a table. There's also these kind of default formatting of cells, red, green, and yellow for good, bad, and otherwise. Um, all these data and model maybe default formatting. All this stuff is very useful. But again, um, almost none of this stuff really fits within um, most companies' themes. Your company has a color or a couple colors, and I always find it appropriate to format my spreadsheets in accordance with the colors of the company. If a company's colors are blue and silver, then your format should be blue and silver. That's my personal take. I think it's right. Of course, that's my opinions, and I'm biased. But anyways, so again, conditional formatting we'll get into later. Some default formats, inserting a row, deleting a row, formatting row height, hiding and unhiding columns and rows. All this stuff extremely useful. But again, all this right side of the home ribbon, we're going to get into that much later. Really, the primary focus of this video was the left side of formatting. All right, last thing I'm going to go into is borders. And so we briefly touched on this drop down caret back here in the font section. And you have, of course, you can just do the basic uh, give every cell a border. And it's easy, but it's also not incredibly readable. And let me just get these numbers back to right align because they're driving me crazy. Okay. What is more easily read yet still defined from cell to cell is to have the body of your information in a little bit lighter, a little bit not as aggressive sort of border. But unfortunately, we're not given a quick option here. There is line colors and line styles, and it you can get there from here. I think it's more difficult than if we just select this section and right click and go to format cells. And here, one of our tabs is the border tab. And my preferred way to group something is to give it this thick black border as an outline, and to give it this kind of soft, it's a dashed line, but it really kind of presents as gray. And I'm going to do that for all the inside borders. And so that's what it would look like. We press OK. And so there, and just for contrast, let me get rid of the grid lines. There you go. So in a table, I find it much easier to transition from column to column without such a stark border in between columns or in between rows. But we do have this containment to say, hey, this is the edge of my table. And then we'll go ahead and we'll give this thing a nice dark border. That's good. Okay. And then just for demonstration purposes, let's go ahead and make another one and another one and another one. And this is what we're going to cover here is, I think, one of the more slept on portions of formatting. And that is really looking at everything in its entirety and creating a nice presentation. So here I've selected all my columns and I've double clicked the far left or far right side of my column boundary to get everything to the same size as the contents of the cells. And this space in between, I'm going to take that and I'm going to reduce that. My go-to is 10 pixels. Maybe you decide yours is 15 pixels. Let's go ahead and do 15. And here I'll do 15, and here I'll do 15 pixels. Good. And then for the row beneath my information, let's take that to 15. Let's take the row above to 15. Now, let's grab that whole section to include the surrounding area. Oh, we missed the middle one. Let's make that 15. Good. Let's take that whole area to include the surrounding sections we just modified. Let's right click. We'll go to format cells. And now we've got this bad boy right here, this extremely thick borderline. And we'll do a perimeter around the whole thing. We'll press OK. And that's going to give us each of our tables nested in a nice frame. And so a lot of people can do a lot of different things. But I think if you look at one, let me just copy this whole section. And we'll go ahead and do the basics over here. Let me get rid of this guy so we can see this other side. And let's go ahead and make this the way that perhaps folks might normally just outline their stuff. So there we go. So here is two competing sets of information. And I think that the way that we uh, kind of bring these adjacent tables together and then we frame it in a nice thick frame, that that has a certain presentation value that is um, more appreciated, I think, in especially when you're presenting data, rather than something like this where, if I can restore my sizes. Um, yes, it's the same information, but one is more organized and structured and easier to read, and that goes a long way. So, so yes, it's important to have your data set correct and your presentation. Um, the final product to be legitimate content, but at the same time, this particular formatting says something about you as a creator or purveyor of information that this same data set lacks. And so this is just the very tip of the iceberg about what starts to separate um, really advanced Excel users from basic Excel users, right? So this is basic. This, we'll call this novice, but it all starts here. It starts in the presentation of your information. So with that, I think we've beat formatting. I think we beat it down pretty good. Um, so let me go ahead and bring back my, where are my grid line? There they are. Yeah, we beat up formatting pretty good. I encourage you to play around with these things. The way that you format for presentation, um, with border styles and all of that, that is certainly, unless dictated by a company that you work at, that is certainly personal preference. And I encourage you to explore all the different possibilities of framing a data set, the way that you make it look. Do you bold headers? Do you not bold headers? All that stuff goes to develop your own personal Excel style. Um, don't make it too flashy. Keep it clean, keep it professional. Everything should be easy to read, easy to transition from one column to the next or one row to the next. So if you see items within a data set that are really attracting your attention that is not the data, then that's a problem, right? So play around with these ideas, mess with the fonts, mess with the formats. Um, and as always, if you know of anybody that can benefit from a video like this, or anybody that's interested in getting to into Excel for the first time, by all means, forward them my video or forward them my channel. I sure would appreciate it. And I'll see you all in the next one.